Hey guys, welcome to the Baywatch video podcast where I watch every episode of the hit 80s/90s show Baywatch. I'm your host DJ, let's get started. Forever and always, I'm always in. Hello guys. Well, I did it. The first episode's out there. And I was really afraid at first, but now that I got the pilot movie out of the way and I now can focus on the series, a weight's been lifted on my shoulders. The first episode's already here, available on YouTube, and 11 people have watched it at the recording of this, which is totally fine. At least I finally got it done and I did it. Before we dive into this episode, I want to acknowledge two things. One, I apologize immensely for my fish tank making annoying sounds in the background of the first episode. I didn't realize it was going to show up that loud on the auto, and I wish that I could have edited that out, but I don't know how. I also mentioned that Newbie, a character on the show, was a lifeguard in real life. His name was Michael Newman, and he's the reason why we have Baywatch. Because he pitched the show and felt that the world should know what lifeguards actually did. In fact, the pitch for the show was him on one day on the beach being a lifeguard. If you're watching the show on Hulu, you may see a shot of him picking up a crying baby. That wasn't for the show. That was him actually being a lifeguard. He saved countless lives, and for that, he's a true American hero in my opinion, and one of the best characters on Baywatch. Okay, let's dive into the craziness that is the first episode of the series of Baywatch. Just want to clarify. I know that on Hulu it says Season 1, Episode 1, Panic at Malibu Pier, but that is actually the pilot movie. This is the actual first episode, not the second episode. Because the first thing you see is a movie, not an episode. And I can't believe that this is the episode they went with when they became a series. So technically, if you want to get even more technical, this is the pilot episode because it's the first episode of Season 1. And what a doozy. This episode was titled In Deep, and its air date was September 22nd, 1989. I was not born yet, not until December of 1989. So, we start off with Mitch and Hobie at their house. Mitch is looking for his shoe. Hobie says, "Your shoe, Dad, your responsibility," which would basically get Hobie grounded if this were real life. When Mitch goes upstairs to look for his shoe, we see on the wall the painting that Carl, the guy who retired and ultimately ended up dying in the pilot movie, is painting unfinished on the wall. Oh, why didn't they finish the painting? Anyway, Mitch looks down the stairs and notices that the house can really use a good cleaning. And it's true, it could. But Hobie says, "There are no girls around." And Mitch is like, "Well, I'd like to change that. That's why we need to clean the house." But Hobie is out the door and going to summer school. But he doesn't go to summer school. He decides to go meet his friends to go jet skiing, even though he knows that Mitch is against jet skiing. I don't know the two guys' names that Hobie hangs out with, so I'm just going to refer to them as Annoying Shirtless Guy and Sympathetic Wetsuit Guy. The reason why I'm calling the other guy Sympathetic Wetsuit Guy is because he's the nicer one of the two. So, they're jet skiing it up all over the beach, and Annoying Shirtless Guy suggests that they go jet skiing under Malibu Pier. The other guy, sympathetic wetsuit guy, is all like, "Don't be a dweeb, Hobie. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to do that." And Hobie's like, "Well, if I don't do it now, I'll never get another chance." I don't know the geographical layout of Baywatch. You know, how far Mitch is from headquarters, how far the pier is from them or anything. But I'm pretty sure it's not that far. And he doesn't live that far from it. But okay, whatever. So, annoying shirtless guy, while he's asking this, manages to take out a beer and drink it in front of Hobie. Where he's storing that beer, I don't know. Either in his shorts, or maybe there's a special compartment in the jet ski. I don't know. But he goes through the pier successfully, doesn't get hurt or anything. Hobie decides to try it, and gets through toward the middle and falls off. Annoying shirtless guy doesn't seem to care, and ignores that Hobie has fallen in the water. But sympathetic wetsuit guy helps him out of the water and puts him back on the jet ski. They go to the shore, and annoying shirtless guy says to sympathetic wetsuit guy, "This is great, man. We're gonna have a sleigh for the rest of the summer." So I guess that's why they're hanging out with him. That's the only thing I could think of, because they seem to be far too old to be hanging out with a 12-year-old. Yeah, Hobie's 12 now, not 13, like in the pilot movie. So we cut to Eddie and Shawnee are supposedly supposed to be couple of the season. You wouldn't know it. Shawnee shows Eddie a number and says, "Eddie, will you look at this number? 7 digits, looks good to me." "Yeah, I know. I tried to call it. You said that this was your number, and I tried to call it, and it was the number of a pizza parlor." "Why did you call me?" "Jeez, dude." And she goes, "To grab a pizza." "To grab a pizza? Ha ha ha." He doesn't laugh at this, and she goes, "Seriously, why isn't your number working?" And he goes, "Well, the owner of the pizza parlor said that I could use his number until my phone is fixed," and then he just sort of walks away. And I'm like, seriously, what is going on here? It just doesn't make any sense. This is the couple we're supposed to be rooting for? They're not even going out. They're not even a couple. Ugh. Meanwhile, Hobie decides to go to headquarters to try to sell Mitch on the whole jet ski thing. First he comes in and says, "Hey Dad, I was in the parking lot. I noticed that your car could use some cleaning. If you pay me, I'll clean it." Mitch gives him $3, and Hobie's like, "Dad, $3? Aw, come on." And believe me, when I was a kid, if my dad gave me any kind of money, $3 or more, I was happy. I wouldn't have complained at all. Of course, way back when you could buy all kinds of things for $3, like candy and gum and stuff, versus today you kinda can't, not unless you go to Dollar Tree. Boy, I've gotten old. But anyway, Hobie has a poster with him, and Mitch says, "Is that a poster?" Hobie says, "Yeah." He says, "Let's see it." He unfolds it, and it's a picture of a woman in a bikini on a jet ski. And of course, Mitch notices the woman in the bikini first, and doesn't even acknowledge there's a jet ski in the picture. Hobie has to divert his attention from the good-looking girl to basically take the conversation back to the jet ski. Mitch goes, "Oh, no, you can't have a jet ski. They're too dangerous." And then Hobie says, "You don't like anything fun. You're grounded. Go to your room." That's pretty much how that would work in real life. But Mitch and him just get into a fight, and he just runs away. And then Hobie ends up running into Death Glare, aka Craig. Craig asks Hobie what's wrong, and Hobie says he doesn't like anything fun. He's not fun anymore. I don't understand him anymore. And he goes, "Who? My dad? He's on my case because he won't let me ride a jet ski." Craig goes, "Well, they are dangerous." "Oh, not you too. Were any of you ever a kid?" "Well, I think you should give your dad a break because I've known him since he was your age." "Well, what was he like when he was my age?" He complained about his dad a lot. I don't know if this conversation works, but it's kind of funny. Meanwhile, a random woman is on a wave boat. A wave boat is basically a surfboard with a sail on it. And the way that it takes forever, you would think that this is a commercial for it. Annoying shirtless guy and sympathetic wetsuit guy randomly come upon this woman and start circling her, putting water on her and everything, and she literally screams on the scene, "This is dangerous," to tell you it's dangerous. And she ends up being knocked over, and it's implied that she gets her face run over by the jet ski. Dun dun dun! Oh my god, more death. So meanwhile, we have a montage of the sun going down and Eddie eating a sandwich and feeding it to seagulls. And then later, Craig is doing the rounds in the car on the beach and discovers that Eddie is sleeping in one of the lifeguard towers because he's homeless. I don't really understand the whole explanation. Something about he couldn't find anything. So Craig decides to have his wife, Gina, who has aged backwards and is now younger, and her and Craig live in a new apartment instead of that weird house in the pilot movie. But the layout of this apartment makes absolutely no sense, and instead of helping him find an actual place to live, Gina's all like, "Let's let him live in our storage room." Yeah, because that's better than sleeping in a lifeguard tower. Okay. Meanwhile, we're introduced to a brand new character named Goner, who is a police officer and will later become a private investigator for the spin-off series Baywatch Nights, which I will unfortunately probably not get to watch because I don't think Hulu will put that on there, unfortunately. But he's played by Gregory Allen Williams, and he's a great guy. When he's introduced, he's like, "I hate the beach. The sand in my shoes. I got blisters on my feet. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a lifeguard. I hate this." Apparently he had a run-in with his lieutenant and was mean or something, and his lieutenant, out of revenge, signed him beach duty. And of course, his first thing is to investigate what happened to the woman on the wave boat. Judging from the wave boat, Mitch and Craig figure out that it's a woman, and that she's between the ages of 24 and 30. And Goner is absolutely amazed that they have figured this all out in the span of a few seconds. Pretty much the crime is solved. When Craig finds Eddie in the lifeguard tower, they find the corpse of the woman floating in the ocean. They end up getting her out, and it's implied, like I said, that the jet ski was run over her on her face, because we don't see her face. And this was way back when on television, when we didn't have to see things visually to know that it was bad. Not only do they figure out that it's a woman, but also after they look at her face and the bruises on her body, they can tell that the jet ski that hit her was red. I don't know how in the world that they figured that out, but okay. Meanwhile, back at Casa de Mitch, Hobie and Mitch are having a throw meat in a pan contest thing, because Mitch is making spaghetti, as evident later in a scene. I at first thought what Allison on Baywatching thought, that he was making burgers, but it's actually spaghetti. Mitch talks to Hobie and says, "I know that you've been skipping summer school again. Tell me where you're going." "I don't want to go to summer school. It sucks." "Well, if you go to summer school and you keep up your schoolwork, you won't have to go to summer school next summer." Which is a valid point. And I know that I'm old if I'm siding with the adult in the story, and I'm supposed to be siding with the child, I guess. But Mitch has a point. Anyway, they get into yet another argument, and Hobie gets angry and goes in his room. Mitch comes in with a plate of spaghetti and basically is like, come on, pal. That's Hobie's latest nickname, aside from the Hopester, which his friends call him in this episode as well. He goes, come on, pal, tell me what's wrong. I really want to know. And Hobie decides the best course of action is to lie and says, I've been sneaking off to the arcade. Oh, you're playing games? You know, you burning up your money for games? Hobie goes, no, I just watch. And then Mitch goes, you just watch people play games? And he goes, no, I watch a girl play games. And then Mitch goes, there's a girl? That makes it all better. You skipping summer school is totally okay. Because there's a girl involved. At least that's the way that Mitch acts. I mean, he doesn't say all of that, I'm just paraphrasing. But he acts like once Hobie tells him that he's watching a girl or something play a game, it's like everything is totally fine now. So that's resolved. Mitch gets up, leaves the room, and leaves the whole plate of spaghetti on Hobie's bed, which would not be allowed in my house when I was a kid. But anyway, so the next day, Hobie comes into headquarters, and they are narrowing down their search for all the jet skis in the area and have pictures. Hobie comes in and shows his dad his math test where he got a B on. And he said, and I wasn't even there. And Mitch says, well, imagine what you could accomplish if you're there every day. And Hobie just like, yeah, Dad, ha ha ha. Basically, Mitch tells Hobie a woman was killed with a jet ski. See, I told you they were dangerous. When Hobie picks up the picture of the red jet ski, he gets a hunch that it's his friend, annoying shirtless guy, that killed the girl on the wave boat. So instead of telling the grown-ups like a normal person, Hobie decides to go investigate for himself. He goes to where they hang out and crawls underneath this house, I guess it is, and finds proof that annoying shirtless guy killed Wave Boat Girl. While he's under there, annoying shirtless guy and sympathetic wetsuit guy come back and are talking about the girl they murdered. We have to tell them what we did. No, she's dead. We don't have to. Yes, we do. It's wrong. Why? Nobody has to know. And Hobie decides to knock down some pans or something to basically say, hey guys, I'm under here. So annoying shirtless guy decides to hold him hostage until he tells him what he overheard. Nothing. Nothing. I didn't hear nothing. See, he didn't hear nothing. Let him go. No, he heard something. I know he did. No, I didn't. Somehow Hobie manages to get away from him by sloshing sand in his face, and basically gets on the jet ski and goes in the water, and annoying shirtless guy decides to chase after him. Sympathetic wetsuit guy tries to stop him and goes, he's just a kid, why don't you leave him alone? He's gonna tell. And they fight to a bloody pulp, knocking him into a shelf and presumably knocking him out, because we never see sympathetic wetsuit guy again. Anyway, it just so happens that Mitch, Garner, and Jill are tracking the various owners of jet skis in the rental properties, and just so happen to be right there when Hobie is on his jet ski being chased by annoying shirtless guy. When Hobie sees his father, he falls off the jet ski, and they pick him up and put him in the boat, and he goes, that's him, Dad! That's the guy that killed the girl! Let's get him! Da-da-da-da! Yeah, even though that was like a variation of a music cue, that's actually one they actually use. So, the boat swirls around, and Mitch jumps onto the jet ski, knocking shirtless guy off of it. And he gets arrested for murder. Don't know what happens to sympathetic wetsuit guy, but I'm guessing he gets arrested too. And Thanks again. The day is saved thanks to Mitch Buchanan. And does Hobie learn his lesson? No. Hobie basically says, I was so scared, Dad. I know, I was too, pal. I didn't tell you the truth because I knew that you wouldn't let me if I did, and you would get mad at me. I promise I'll never ask you about jet skis again. Then there's a pause, and he goes, I want a hand glider. He would be so grounded if he was a kid of my father's and my mother's. He would be so grounded in a matter of seconds for what he did there. But anyway, overall, this episode was really bad. I mean, this is the episode they come up with for their first episode after becoming a series. I mean, if you skipped the pilot movie and watched this episode, which serves actually as the pilot of the first episode of the first season, you would think to yourself, huh? This is weird. A woman gets killed by a jet ski. I mean, honestly, it is a horrible way to go, and I feel bad for the woman because she was just having some fun. You know, she wasn't doing anything. But it was a pretty sort of low-maintenance episode. It was like, I guess, a way to reel viewers in from the pilot movie. But it kind of failed. The next episode is kind of better, I guess. But this episode was kind of not as good as I thought it would be. When I watched it on Allison's Baywatching channel, it was actually quite better when she was talking about it. She made it much more entertaining than it actually was. Which I'm told that a lot of Baywatch episodes are like that. She makes them far more entertaining when reviewing them than they actually are when you watch them. Let's see, 80s moments. I didn't really notice. I guess the jet skis, the jet ski poster, the Lakers poster on the back of Hobie's door, the sailboat wallpaper behind Hobie's bed. That just seems sort of something that would happen in the 80s because no one put the wallpaper on their walls anymore as far as I know. The fact of giving like a 7-digit number and the person calls it and it's actually a pizza parlor, that was so 80s. And for those of you who are wondering, what were the montages in this episode? There was a montage of Craig and Eddie looking for a place to live. Eddie gets knocked down by a mime. There's a montage of Eddie thinking and feeding seagulls. And then there's just a montage of people on the beach. And that's pretty much it. Well, this episode was kind of slow going. But the next one is hopefully much better. Thank you for watching. And please tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode if you happen to watch or listen to the episode. Thank you for watching. And forever and always, I'm always here.